Hello, hello. Welcome everyone. I see we're already starting to fill the room. Welcome to Conversations with Graciously Me. Hello, Marie. I see you here. I see you. Welcome to the conversation room. This is Jamila. My name is Jamila Scott. I am the owner of Jamila Scott Enterprises, founder of Graciously Me Women's Empowerment Group. I'm also the host of Conversations with Graciously Me. We want you to be a part of this conversation tonight. So I'm so glad that you're here. And in order for you to fully participate, when I see you in the comments, or if you have a question, or you just said something that was real good, I want to be able to show that on the screen. So in order to do that, go back to the post, and in the post, give StreamYard, that's the platform I'm using to go live. Give StreamYard permission to see your profile picture as well as your name. And that way, when you make your comments tonight, I'll know exactly who you are. Our guests will know exactly who you are, so that you can be a part of the conversation tonight. It's a Friday night. We're laid back here in the conversation room. We're just having good conversation, giving good empowerment, good feedback, so that we can continue to make good use of this pandemic time, so we can come out better than before we went in. If you are watching the replay tonight, please type #replay. You know, I give all the replay viewers love. I make sure you all enjoy the show as well. So type #replay if you're watching the replay tonight. And if you hear anything that says, "Tag, that was good," or "I needed that," and you want to see this platform continue to grow, go ahead and click the Cash App. The link is at the bottom. It's no specific amount. It's just say, hey, this is good ground. I want to sow on this. I want to see this continue to grow. So I just want to drop a little seed to make sure that the platform continues to bring on good people, good conversations. So that's right there at the bottom, the Cash App information. If you want to know more about me, my website is at the bottom, jamilascott.com. But tonight, before I get started there, I'm so excited about our guest that we have tonight. But before I get into that, for Graciously Me Women's Empowerment Group, if you are on Facebook, go ahead and type in Graciously Me after the show. We want to make sure that you are part of the group. This is a group where we talk about everything woman. We talk about fashion, style, anything that's going on in life. We talk about it. We have a good time over there. So we love for you to join the sisterhood. Go ahead and join Graciously Me. If you're not, because we are now viewing for men and women on Conversations with Graciously Me. If you're a man, we don't want to forget about you. Go ahead and like Conversations with Graciously Me page, so that you can keep up with what's going on, stay in the know, and just get good information, and also be able to go back to see previous shows as well. If you prefer to watch this on YouTube, go ahead and type in Jamila Scott and you'll find our YouTube channel. Now, without further delay, I think I got all the church announcements out of the way. Without further ado, you guys, tonight we are discussing how to get over major hurdles. And our guest tonight has some major hurdles he had to get over. We're going to hear a little bit of his testimony. He is the author of From D.O.C to C.E.O. He is also the owner of TeamSuccess Publications, as well as Blight Properties. Welcome to the conversation room tonight, Mr. Jemell Casper Hill. Welcome to the conversation room.
Hello, Jamila and gracious me ladies. I'm honored to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you for having me. You know, everybody that knows me knows that God has blessed me because I have a grateful heart. So I'm grateful to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us tonight. I just want to go ahead and make sure, there we go, make sure everything's up like it's supposed to be. Before we get started, let us know, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Jemell Casper Hill, AKA Mr. Hope for the Hustlers. I say that in a humble way, not in an arrogant way. Because like I said, just my life, my journey, just give guys hope. I've been through the fire many times over, and God has held me. He has carried me. He has blessed me. Like you said, I'm the owner of TeamSuccess Publications, Blight Properties, which is my real estate company, and my new venture, which at some point hopefully we'll talk about, is my new magazine that's coming out. It'll be out in the fall, which is X to X, which is Ex-Cons to Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, that sounds good.
Thank you. I'm a mentor. I'm an entrepreneur. You said author, and I just live. I'm an advocate for change, a son of God, a father, and I just live and love helping others walk this walk, embrace this change, embrace this journey, and help them understand that it's worth it. It's worth it, especially coming from me, from a man coming from the streets, deep in the streets. I was a victim. Police brutality, charged with a murder I didn't do by hanging with the wrong guys. So it's been a long, crazy journey, but God has brought me through, and I'm here, a man on fire.
I know that's right. I'm so glad you are. You have been such a good family friend to me, and even in situations with our family. So I really, really, really appreciate you. You have been there throughout the years. And so I know you have an awesome story to tell, and that you walk the walk and you talk the talk, so you can back up what you say. And so that's why I'm so honored to have you on tonight. And I just appreciate you being willing to be transparent and to just tell your story. So on that note, let's jump right into it. So what happened to cause you to be incarcerated? Tell us a little bit of your story.
Like so many others, I had that deep-rooted drug dealing spirit in me. What happened is, my mother, and she's a phenomenal woman. I love her, and she knows, and I'm happy where she's at today. She's clean and sober. But, she was a accounting and a guidance counselor. And during the crack epidemic, she got caught up like so many others, and she fell from grace. And me, I remember she used to leave us in the house for days with no food, me and my little brother. I was 12, he was 7. So I started stealing drugs just to feed me and him. And every time she disappeared, then I started just hitting the streets. And anybody that knows that life, that once you get caught up in that dangerous, addictive web, and I got wound up getting all the way into that life. Children's services, I came in. I got placed in my grandmother's house. Now, my grandmother was an established older woman. She didn't quite retire yet. But the neighborhood that we moved into, these guys was balling out of control. And the seed was already planted. So even though my grandmother provided me a good home, and I was around 13 at this time, the seed was planted. I had already started seeing some money. So it was kind of like, it was hard to change me at that point. She put me in a good school. And she did her best. She did her absolute best. But that seed was already there. And I remember one day at 14 packing up, saying, Grandma, because the New York City housing had just passed the law, if you got arrested for selling drugs in the projects, your family's going to get put out. And I didn't want to do that to her. And I remember coming in, packing my bag, and she's like, Jemell, where the hell are you going? And I said, I'm not going to get you to lose your house, but this is what I'm going to do with my life. And I wanted to go and stay in with some drug addicts and just started grinding. And then it got serious for me around 16 years old. I started really making money. I didn't catch my first case till I was 18 years old. And I wound up getting a high-power lawyer. I beat the case. Then I started catching case after case, going out of town like so many, people, when you start hearing the money is good. In 1995, I had a real bad shootout in New York with me and my father. My biological father had a shootout against 5 men. He got hit real bad, 5 times standing right next to me. It was the first time God showed me that he had his hand on my life. Because like I said, my father got hit 5 times right next to me, and now the bullet touched me. So I was on a war path after that. And I had went down to Virginia, bought some guns, and came back to New York. And I was on my way to the projects to go see the guys, and I got arrested. And that was my first jail bid. And I was blessed. I had a good lawyer. He came in. He got me a year on Rikers Island for a gun with 2 clips. I did 8 months and came home. But it wasn't enough for that deep-rooted drug dealer. Like I said, at this time, I'm already like 22 years old. And I came home, and then I started going to Pennsylvania. and then selling big drugs here. And I wound up giving Pennsylvania a total of 10 years in prison, which through the course of 4 different state bids. So I had to go through a lot. I went upstate 4 different times before I said, hey, wait, enough is enough. And it was a powerful conversation that I had with a lifer from Philadelphia that actually gave me some wisdom and made me stop and say, wait a minute here, buddy. You know, he had seen me come back to state prison 4 times. And he said, you know, it's like me and you both got life. You just doing yours in installments.
Oh, wow.
Like, whoa. Don't put that on. Don't give me no life.
Right.
But he was, you know, the reality of it was true. He was like, I'm not trying to give you that, but it's like that. He said, I got 1 sentence and I can't get out of here fighting for my life. You keep coming back. So, and I was like, wow, you know, and then when I got back to my cell, I began to see the wisdom in his words. And my mother had wrote me a letter. And I remember she had a scripture, and it was Proverbs 20:17 when it said, bread gained by deceit tastes sweet to a man, but in the end, his mouth shall be filled with gravel. So I was like, wow. And I started, you know, really evaluating my life. I had so many people writing me, telling me, you know, you're smart. Like, you always ran businesses. You did this, you did that. Maybe you should just give yourself a chance. And at that point, my last arrest, I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a chance. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I'm thankful. And that's what I help people embrace.
Good. So I know that's what I kind of wanted to know. And I know you touched on it a little bit by saying, you know, the person kept saying you're coming in, but you're doing this in installments and I have life. But was there any other aha moment that just made you want to say, okay, I'm out here, I'm making the money, I have these investments, you know, it seems like I'm losing them. Every time I go in, I end up losing the investments that I thought that I had gained. Other than his message to you, what was the moment that just said, you know what, this is it. I'm done. It's over. It's enough.
My last arrest, 2011, I was getting so much mail and so much. I had hurt a lot of people, not by just, you know, doing no physical harm, but people were counting on me. So just give an example. So I had a bookstore, and then I had a clothing store, and the landlord in around 2011, he was just starting to recover from that 2008, 2009 collapse, you know, with the economy, with the real estate bust.
Right.
So I had got the clothing store from him. I signed a lease. He was loving me as a tenant because he's like, yo, this almost ruined me. You kind of gave me life. So when I wound up getting arrested, and my kid's mom had to go and, you know, tell him about breaking the lease and getting my stuff out, she said he started crying.
Oh, wow.
And she was already going through her hurt and pain. She crying, my kids was hurting, my mother and them writing me letters again. I had friends. So I had to stop and realize, and I'm not a cold person.
Right.
I just like realized, like, yo, I'm hurting a lot of people. My oldest son Jemell had came to see me one time, and it was behind that glass, and he put his hand up on the window, and the tears started rolling down his face. I had to look away because, you know, I'm trying to be strong.
Right.
Or just like, I can't keep doing this to my kids. It was like, you're going to be selfish and keep putting your family through this? You know what I mean? So it was like, wow, so that was one of the things. And like I said, just keep losing everything. Like, who wants to keep going through that? Like, you get so high, you feel like you up there, and then just lose everything. But it was ill-gotten gains. So that part I'm cool with. It was just, like I said, hurting a lot of people over and over and over. And it took some wisdom for me growing up. I used to tell them, why y'all crying? I'm the one in jail. But, you know, you have physical bondage, and then you have emotional bondage. And that's what it was, them holding on. My mother praying for me and coming to see me and, you know, them rough conditions in prison. So I put my family through a lot. I had to stop and say, you know, I can't keep putting them through this.
Right. So you finally realized that it was more than just about you, that it was affecting everybody around you, including your business, you know, your business ventures, with having the gentleman just break down, basically. So it was affecting not only you, but everybody that was associated with you and that loved you.
Absolutely. And that's what it's about. And if I was talking to a young kid today and I was trying to deter him from that life, and let's say 14, 15, I would say, you know what, then don't go make a bunch of kids if you feel like you want to sell drugs. Don't be close to your family because you're going to hurt them when stuff happens to you. Because that's exactly, you know, when I wound up going to jail for the homicide that I didn't do, my mother kept saying, see, your friends. But I had to stick to the street code. You know, thank God I was just praying. I wound up beating the charges. I lost like 3 stores at that time, but I knew I was hanging around the wrong people. So just, like I said, it wasn't just, you know, I think we all have, that's a realization that we have to come to sometimes. Like, it's not just about
right, exactly.
I got to that point, and that changed a lot of things for me.
So what advice would you give to family members of those that if someone's incarcerated in your family, maybe your child, your cousins, family members, what advice would you give them to keep them going until it's time for a release?
You know, honestly, truthfully speaking, you know, you write them that letter and just be honest. You don't always have to sugarcoat it, and tell them, you know, because a lot of times, be honest with you, they don't understand. They really think, because I was there and I've communicated this with, so they think just because they're doing a physical bondage, that is not hard on the others. You know, my mother said times, you know, because my brother's in the federal prison now, and my mother said, you know, I just want to have family photo, like one is in, the other's out, vice versa. I could never just take a family picture. So just the advice I would tell them, you know, tell people out there, just write your loved one and say, like we just talked about, it's not just about you.
Right.
I'm hurting here with you. If I'm your wife, a wife wants to, you know, what I had to learn is when I was putting my kids' mom through stuff, she used to watch a lot of these recipes. You know, the cooking channel. And she said, you know, I want to be able to cook this for you, but you always in jail eating that. Is they food better than mine or something? And I said, no, it was just my thinking that put me in that. So, you know, we need, you know, if you got a incarcerated loved one, just tell them, look, you know, I want to be able to do nice things with you. You deserve more than that incarceration. And I deserve to have you here. I want to be able to go to lunch with you, take a walk in the park with you. Don't worry about trying, because a lot of times, especially the drug dealers, we think we just want to give you the lavish gifts. So we put our freedom on the line. But sometimes a priceless walk in the park would be better than that diamond bracelet gained by putting your life in jeopardy.
Exactly. So you try to pay your way through while you can.
That's what, you know, that was the thinking. A lot, you know how many men now is sacrificing their life thinking, I want to give, and it, you know, I want to give her this, I want to give her the world and stuff like that. But if that's what she needs from you and you got to risk your life to get it, that might not be the one.
Yes, that's so true. So while we're talking about family, a lot that I do see is the hurt and the pain from the children of someone that's incarcerated. So how do you maintain or either reestablish the relationship with your children, you know, while you're incarcerated, and then when you get out, how do you reestablish that connection again?
You know, well, different prisons, don't get me wrong, does have programs where, like, you know, I know New York have it where, especially if you and the kid's mom are married, you might get to spend time with your family for the weekend. So different states have different programs. If you got to just write and call the basic minimum and say, you know, give me another chance. I'm sorry. I made a bad decision. When I get home, I'll do right. And you got to live by that. You have to really honor that. I didn't realize I hurt my daughter. I had lost a little girl back in the 90s, and for a long time I had a void. So if I dated a woman and she had little girls, we always bonded because I was that hole in my heart from losing my own little girl. And then in 2007, I had my daughter. And then while I was in jail, like, she got pregnant before I turned myself in. So I didn't get to see her birth. But when I came home in 2009, me and my daughter got so close because this was my everything. And then when I went back to jail in 2011, my kid's mom said at 3 years old, she went through like a depressed stage. And I'm like, 3-year-old, a child at 3 be depressed. But, you know, as I got older and I began to understand this is real. And then when I got out, She's just been my world, my everything.
Oh.
But you just got to spend time. The greatest gift an old timer told me is you could get them is the time and love. And when I spoke with your cousin, when he came home, he was struggling. And me and him had a powerful conversation one day, and he was saying, because I guess his brother passed away, one of your other cousins.
Yes.
He wanted to be there for his nieces and nephews. And he was like, "Yo, I gotta get this money because I gotta, they need stuff." And I said, listen, the greatest gift you can give them is that time and love. Don't do nothing crazy because you feel like you want to give them the monetary stuff.
Right.
Gifts. The best gift you could give them is that walk in the park and tell them, I can't do certain things, but I'll walk with you. I'm gonna help you with your homework. I want you to know I'm here for you.
Right.
And the light went off, and he felt it. He felt it. That's my man.
And we so appreciate you having that conversation with him. I'm gonna jump a little bit ahead of me because I did have, I do have these questions that I got from the people, the audience and all of that. But that was going to be one of my questions because when someone has been, locked up, then they come home and they just want to, I want to repay you. I want to give you what you gave me, give you your money back, all of that kind of stuff. What could you tell them? Like, what would be other than, okay, slow down, give them that walk, but it also takes the family to be able to know, because sometimes it wasn't in our case, but sometimes it can be pressure from the family to, you back now, you got to produce, you got to do something here, you got to, instead of allowing them the time to be able to get back acclimated, get themselves together, be able to get their mind in a certain place. And so how if someone is being pushed and not just pushing themselves to do that, but they're feeling like they're being pushed to, or circumstances are pushing them to be able to have to contribute since they're home, what would you tell that person so that they don't go back and be locked up again?
If I'm having a conversation with that person, the most important thing definitely is, and this is what you got to help people understand, is depending on what your plan is. Because sometimes when people know that you have a plan, it'll help them be more patient with you. But if they don't really know what you're doing, really where you're at, sometimes you gotta let people know where you're at in life.
Right.
It was pressure from me when I had first came home. Because I created a mess in my life. Like with my children, I have 5 children in 3 different states. And I came home after all that time. And mind you, I started selling drugs at 12. So I had no employable skills. So this time coming home, I had to get a job. And then the state of Virginia charged me for the 10 years of child support being incarcerated. So when I came home, they said, "Oh, $22,000. I'm saying, "Oh, goodness gracious." And all I could get, I had no resume, no employable skills. So I had to get a $10 an hour job. So I'm like, wow, I got to pay parole fees. Parole, state of prevention charge you $30 a month. I didn't have a driver's license, so I still had a car, but I wasn't trying to drive it.
Right.
Nothing illegal. So I had to pay somebody, one of the co-workers, I was paying them $30 a week. I had agreement with my kid's mom that I was going to give her $400 a month. I had to buy food and all of this stuff and still work on my dreams and goals. And I was paying child support for the Marias because my son in Virginia is grown. So I'm saying I got to pay $22,000 for a child that's grown. So they were making $200 a month. So I was only making $10 an hour to stretch.
So how you get through that? Because you went from having money, like here go your money, here go your money, here go. Now it's like, I got to get a job. I don't have any skills. I got to make $10 an hour. I mean, what makes you just stay focused and say, let me stay on this grind, that you have to keep talking to yourself? Like, how did you get through that to be able to have all of that on you, all of that, and then you still, was saying, I'm still going to do it the right way. I'm still not going to go back. I'm still going to do what I have to do.
Thank you for asking. In 2 parts. And I want everybody to hear me clear. Even if, you've never sold drugs, but you might be dealing with a lot of pressure in life. There's two things. For one, you got to have a plan. You got to really know what you want. That's why I say set meaningful goals, because you got to really know what you want. And then you have to come to a place in your life where success means more to you than failure. And that's where I was at. And that's what kept me focused. That's what kept me willing to get on the bus. Despite me having Mercedes and Lexus and Louis Vuitton interior, I didn't care. People was just saying to me, like, "Yo, you get on a bus." Mind you, I had enrolled in college as well. So I was taking the bus to college, getting a ride with people to work. I didn't care. I just left men that would never get to smell this air out here.
Yeah.
And I had a serious plan, and I came to a place in life where succeeding mean more to me than failing. And that's what kept me grounded. And you have to get to that place in life. That'll make you choose your friendships differently.
Yes.
You know, one of the things about success is one of the ugly words of success is sacrifice. And I thank God that I learned that, because I was willing to sacrifice. I was willing to suffer, because sometimes you want to shop. And I'm like, well, I'm making $10 an hour. I got to make it stretch. But what I was doing is they had overtime, and I took full advantage of it. I was working 7 days a week for 4 months straight, 2 days off. Next thing I might go back in for 3 months, taking advantage of all the overtime. I was working really hard, and slowly but surely purchased my L.L.C, open my business account aside from my personal account. I had a checklist. Get this stuff done. Oh, this week, this month, I probably can't go and get that, but I got to pay my bills. But I was still watching me check off that checklist.
Yeah, that's good. You got to have a plan.
It took me 3 years to get my first property, which was a run down, raggedy house, but I felt so good.
Yes.
But, you got to just be willing to succeed more than you're willing to fail. And that's messing around with them streets. You're going to fail.
Every time. So I'm going to stop real quick, because Mama, I think she has something to say. She says, I have to admit that I'm very proud of my son. He has really turned his life around, and I see no signs of him slipping. As crazy as this may sound, I'm trying to follow his steps, and he's my son. But guess what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I love you, Jemell. So it's no way that I would have you miss that message.
yeah, that's my dad. Much love to him.
Oh, your dad. Hi, Dad. Yeah. So
that shooting, he was blessed. God spared him.
Thank God for that.
God still has some work to do in his life, because he wound up going to do 18 years after that. But he's came home focused, and I'm so thankful. Which is why I would help him anytime he need me. I got his back. I love where he's at. So I'm thankful.
Yes, that's the testimony in itself. You have multiple testimonies, but we want to flip this thing for those of you who are just coming in. I just want to let you know we're talking to Jemell Casper Hill tonight. He's telling his testimony how he went from D.O.C, which is Department of Corrections, to C.E.O, the righteously. That's how you say it, right?
People need to know that.
Yes.
I came. Let me tell you something, right? There's a place here in York where I live at that I love this place. It's a Christian business. It's like a frozen yogurt place. Right. And the name is called Sweet Frog. But I found out that the frog is an acronym for FROG, fully rely on God. And I was like, oh, I love that. And when I came home, that's why I say righteously, because I wasn't counting on nobody giving me no money, nothing. I did what I had to do from the ground up.
So we're going to flip the script on this thing. We hear your testimony. We know where you came from. We know some of the battles, just a little smidget of some of the battles that you had to face and overcome. Now let's flip this to the CEO side, because we talked enough about the D.O.C side. So what inspired you to become an author? What made you just say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write this? Because some people, they don't do that. They come out, they don't have a plan, they don't have anything. Then even people who have not even been incarcerated, they keep saying, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They never get it done. So what inspired you to sit down and write that book?
By God's design, I'm a writer. And then I opened a bookstore in 2010. So I was always meeting so many different authors around the world. I was writing movies before I was writing books. I had wrote 5 movies, but I love to read. That's why I opened the bookstore. And in 2009, 2010, when I had came home and I opened the bookstore, I was like, wow, I could see me writing a book. And then I met a great author. One of the books really touched me, J.M. Benjamin. He had a book called Incarceration to Incorporation. I was like, wow, that's powerful. And it kind of represented my story. But at that time, I had got my businesses the wrong way. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to write this story at that time that way, because that's kind of hypocritical. And that's one of the things I'm not. Because people are reading and say, okay, yeah, he came home and now he got all these businesses. But at that time, I was still selling drugs.
Okay.
So I went to jail in March 4th, 2011. And when I made the decision to give up selling drugs, and I said, no matter how long I got to sit in here, when I get home, I'm going to rebuild my businesses the right way, no matter what it takes. I started writing right then and there. And I wrote the first half when I was incarcerated. And when I came home and started putting everything into place, I was writing the second half.
Wow. So by the time you got home, how long was it before you had it published and had it ready for print?
I got out in September 9th, 2013. I walked out of state prison. And we was ready to publish December 2015.
So you weren't playing. You was like, I got to get this thing out.
I mean, God is blessing me and I'm praying. And I was still, like I said, this is working a rough job, college, family, parole on my back, staying on top of my homework, making the dean's honor roll, and still getting my business in order, purchasing that raggedy house and still being creative. So my pie chart, as I like to reflect, that's what I ask people, what's your pie chart? You know, because that tells you a lot about a person. My pie chart was full.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was serious about it because I knew I wasn't going back to selling drugs. And I wanted to create multiple streams of income for myself the right way. Because I knew that from the beginning that it's going to be about helping others and showing. My mission was to show people there is a better way. And I had to work incredibly hard to achieve it, but it worked. And that's what I tell people, like, it worked.
Right. Exactly. If you all have any questions that's watching live, please go ahead and put those questions in the comments. We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible. This is a good opportunity for anybody who wants to have answers to questions about business. If you have family members or friends that are incarcerated, or you may be trying to help them after getting home, this is a time to ask questions to someone who knows it, who has lived it. So go ahead and put those questions in the comments. I will be reading them as we go, and we'll be able to answer those questions. So I wanted to say that before our time started winding up. What advice would you give to you? You want to say something before I ask you?
I know I should have told you this earlier, but one of the things that worked for me that I realized, and if you got an incarcerated loved one, you write them a letter and help them understand this, but say, get free before you get released. Because that's what you got to get free before you get released.
That is good. Do you know Carlton?
That's my man. That's my man. I took him last week to go get a job. That's my man.
Okay, he says, can you be my mentor? So you all, I'm gonna let you all talk about that.
My little homie, good kid.
Good. I have someone who says, for me in the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I just didn't do anything. Then I reprogrammed, and now I'm a CEO, recovery addict, clean, 15 years, about to start my second business and about to get my GED so I can attend college. Amen, brother. I don't know who you are because it's just saying Facebook user, but I'm so proud of you. Casper, you want to speak on that?
Hey, yes, amen. Good brother, Facebook user. I wish you had a name so I could properly salute you, but I still salute you. Keep going. You are a success story. Keep it up. I commend you. God bless you on your journey. Keep doing it. I love it.
Yes, I'm glad. Sounds like, you were saying you have to have a plan. You have to have a made up mind before you even get out. You have to have a made up mind. You have to have a reason, like a why that's so powerful that when you go through having money and then you get home and you have $10 an hour that you still press. So you have to have a made up mind. Sounds like to me, you have to reprogram your mind, refresh your mind, and you have to have a big reason why. So when those hard times come, that you just can continue and don't revert back. As Tracy is saying, I just helped my brother get a building in Chester to start a thrift store. No one has faith in it, but I do. Can you maybe one day speak to him?
I would love it. Let's connect. Let's connect.
I'll make sure you guys hook up.
Yes, you having faith in them and him having faith in himself and just trusting God, it will work. God will bless it beyond his wildest dreams.
Yes, yes. Somebody got to have faith in them.
Real quick, like you said, how you saying about their plan. I mean, people don't understand because it sounds like an overused word, but it's important. Like you got to have that plan, because what happens is it sets parameters for your life.
Yes.
Plan sets parameters. It does that. So what happens is it's like, I need to get this building, so I only have this amount of money. My friends is asking me, let's go out to the club. I don't want to go out to the club because it's like, I have a budget. I can't afford to overspend. This goal over here is more important to me.
Right.
It sets the parameters. When you start budgeting, I had opened a store around 2015. So it was like, after paying my bills, paying parole fees, and paying this, and paying my home bills, taking care of my kids, it was like, okay, I could get flooring for the store this week.
Right.
Because
a little bit at a time, not just trying to do anything real huge.
Yes, one brick at a time. Build a house.
Yeah, that'll lead me into my next question, which was for new entrepreneurs, because some people look at this entrepreneur life and they're like, oh, it look good, it's flashy, I look like, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that, I'm my own boss. But a lot of times people don't show the whole story, like the hard times of pushing. If you don't make the money doesn't come in, like the non-glamorous side. So with you pushing over from D.O.C to CEO, what advice would you give a new entrepreneur or someone who's looking or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? What would you tell them before they even get started? What they need to know?
Watch your emotional intelligence levels, because it's gonna be times where it hurts. It's hard, like you said, outside the glitz and the glamour. You got to stay strong. You got to stay focused. Even after, I had released the book, I was doing well. And I told you I bought a house that I never should have bought. So as I was building my real estate company, I'm traveling with the book. I'm doing speaking engagements. I'm traveling all over the world. Things is going great. I'm paying all my bills. I'm taking care of parole, my children. And I'm financing the renovations in my home for the rental property. And I come back off the road, they done broke in, stole a copper. And I just spent $4,000 and tear my $4,000 worth of sheetrock up for the copper. Might only got them $60. So it was hurting me. And then I woke up one day and I had no more books. My savings were depleted. And I was like, wow, I'm in a tough spot. But I made a promise, because remember, succeeding me more than me than failing. Right. So I had to go back into the workforce, because I said, I'm not going back to selling drugs. I promised myself and my family, if I was ever in a jam, I would never go back to selling drugs. And in 2016, like I said, that's when I hit that rough patch. And I wound up getting a quality inspector position at Harley-Davidson. And I've still been there, and I'm still there now, while balancing my businesses.
Right.
I hit that low point. And that's the part that hurts entrepreneurs, but you got to stay focused. You got to, prayer and keep grinding.
Yes.
Grinding, keep pushing forward.
That's true. And don't give up.
Yeah. And be willing to learn, grow, learn. I thank God I didn't do nothing crazy. I wound up getting rid of the house. I did a wholesale deal and got rid of the house. I took a major loss. Do I regret that experience? Not at all. Going back in time now, from now, I just buy, homes that maybe need lipstick job, a little paint,
Right.
that's going to really hurt me. But I learned so much. And you got to just be willing to learn, to grow, and stay, learn. Like, we live in an amazing time now where at the tip of your fingers, you can learn.
Yes.
People's mistakes. So, education. In my new book, I'm gonna give up so much wisdom for this. I'm doing an entrepreneur series.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Beginning with a dictionary, because to be successful in any field, you have to learn the language.
That's so true.
When I was in the streets, if you'd have called me and said, "Hey, Cass, I need a kilo," I'd have hung up the phone on you because we spoke.
Yeah.
If you're in real estate and I tell you, you tell me you've been in real estate for 10 years, and I said, what about about short sales and foreclosures and this kind of stuff? And if you didn't know, I'm gonna look at you like sideways. Same thing with makeup. If you talk to somebody and say, I've been a makeup artist for 15 years, and you might ask them certain questions, and if they don't know it, the basics, you be like, wow, you've been doing makeup, and you don't even know what
you're right.
Mascara is.
Right. Exactly.
Entrepreneur's dictionary that I'm going to start. It's going to be a whole series of entrepreneur books, just with so much wisdom and guidance, and just helping them grow and learn.
Yeah, like Lisette said, you have to be forever a student, and you have to be teachable. You can't think that I've arrived, I've made it, and I'm untouchable. Nobody can tell me anything. You no longer receive constructive criticism because you feel like you up here and they're down there. No, your clients can tell you that, hey, you do this good and I like you for that, but this over here, if you can kind of fix that, that'll make everything go smoother. And I know even for me, with my clients, and I listen to them, and because not every interaction is going to be peaches and cream. Not every interaction in entrepreneurship is going to just go over smoothly, but look at those as opportunities to do better. And so you have to learn how to, instead of having a haughty spirit, you have to learn how to receive constructive criticism so that you can grow, you can do better, you can make changes, and not take them personally. If you're in business and you taking stuff personal, I don't know how long you're going to stay there, because you got to let that kind of stuff roll off your back. So that emotional intelligence, and being able to have that's what you need to be able to continue to grow, because you need to be able to hear the good as well as the bad.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes I've sat in meetings with my team, and we might be having rough days, and and then or even some other business owners. We sitting down and we might be looking to somebody else like we arguing and we going through, and then we just get up and say, okay, let's go have our lunch.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's the way it is, and that's what people got to understand. Like, and if, like you said, if your goals are meaningful and whatever the business is, you're passionate about it, and your business, you're gonna have them ups and downs. You're gonna be tested.
Yes.
Tested. I've read a saying before. A guy said, "The brick walls are gonna be there to see how bad you really want it." Sometimes, like I said, it's just to test you. I've done crazy stuff, and the times I've been tested. When I first released the book, I still to this day I walk the streets of rough neighborhoods, and me and my team was walking through a neighborhood one time in Baltimore, and as soon as I got on the block, these guys started gripping.
Wow.
Because they didn't, you see 5 black men coming through the floor, you don't know what it is, and I'm obviously they doing what they do. They had stuff going on, but until I said, listen, I spoke my spoke. I told them who I am, what I'm doing. Then they embraced me. But initially, some people have been like, turn around and ran.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to have crazy moments. This time I was in Baltimore walking the streets one day, and the kid was like, I was telling, talking and telling my story. He's blowing, the weed smoke. I like this book.
Right in your face, right?
Yeah, I want to get a copy of this. Let me sell a few more of these, this work. I said, well, I'll be back around. I'm not going to stand here on this corner with you, but if I see you want to get a copy, just gave him some words of wisdom, like, you know what? Your legacy don't have to end like this, brother. You don't have to. And I just kept it pushing. But,
Yeah, I can't wait for you to be able for this Corona stuff to lift and you be able to come to Virginia and walk around, because I'm telling you, I know you will be effective here.
Yes, I look forward to it. I lived in Virginia for a while, so especially some of the states where I've done my dirt at, it's always been my vision to go back and rebuild and help as part of my vision. And I know, like I said, I go in the worst neighborhood and God is going to protect me. I've been through the storm already, so I have no fear.
That's good. We need people like you. We need men like you to come back and stand up and say, hey, it's a better way. It's a different way. You don't have to do it this way. And if you're smart enough to exceed that way, you smart enough, you can flip that same, knowledge and do it the right way. So, it's just a different mindset.
Yes. They need to just hear that. Just hear that and see you saying, I said, man, I've been through the mud. I was charged with murders, all kind of shootings, all that. And I started 2 businesses off a $10 an hour job, working incredibly hard. I repositioned myself off a low-paying, hard, laborious job. So you can do anything.
Yeah, you just have to have a made-up mind and want to be able to do it. We're already coming up on our hour. I can't even believe that it's already almost been an hour. But I don't want to have you go without saying anything that I maybe haven't asked or I didn't touch on. Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before we talk about how to follow you and all of that good stuff? Is there a message or any information you want to leave with those who are listening now and who will hear this later?
Don't be discouraged. I was on, I don't know if you remember, I was on Steve Harvey's show about 2 years ago.
Yes, I remember.
God had his hands all over my trip because I just went as a guest in the audience. And Steve came up in the crowd, hugged me, talked, offered me a job. But the most powerful thing that happened on that show, outside of my own story, is there was a gangbanger on the show that had got shot up really bad in Chicago. And when he woke up out of the coma, the therapist was there telling him, I hate to tell you this, but you are paralyzed from the neck down. Like you can never use your arms and your legs again. And he was like really distraught. And he said, listen, I don't mind getting out of the street life, but I used to paint pictures with my hands, and you tell me I can't use my hands again. And they was like, well, I don't really know what to tell you. You just got to figure it out. So he was stuck for a little minute. And then he went home and he started playing with the paintbrush, holding the paintbrush in his mouth, painting. And he wound up, it would take him like maybe a year to 2 years to finish one painting, but he would come up with beautiful paintings. And then he started going to the school, talking to the kids. He got some recognition. President Obama came out to see him, and that's how they wound up getting him on the Steve Harvey show. But the moral of it is everything is figure outable.
Yes.
Everything is figure outable. Even when it seems like, the chips are stacked against you, God made us so powerful. So if this man learned to make his dream happen, he can't even use his legs or his arms. We should never let nothing discourage us or nothing stop us. Pray, know what you want with your plan, pray on your plan, and put your best foot forward and persist until you win.
Yes, I like that. Everything is figure outable. So you should never be stuck. Even if you have a moment of that you don't have clarity, it's just that you haven't received the information yet. But everything is figure outable. And I really, really, really like that, because that is so true. Sometimes you may have to stand still to get that information, or sometimes you may have to back away from social media, or sometimes you may have to get alone to yourself. But it is figure outable. I like that. I might have to steal that.
You're afraid to, like you said, to stop and pull back. But I heard one time somebody said God made us like bow and arrows. So the further the regression, the further the progression. So sometimes when you have to pull back so that you can thrust forward.
Ooh, I like that. So the further you go back, sometimes you can go back a little, go forward a little bit further.
So sometimes you might have to pull back from social media so you can figure it out. And then when you come back, you thrust forward.
Yes, yes. That's good. That's good right there. Because at the end of the day, what is for you is for you. What it, it can't be taken, and it's more than one way to get to, 7 + 1 is 8, 4 + 4 is 8, 8 times 1 is 8. So, any way you mix it up, you still get to the destination, but you just got to be willing to mix it up and willing to say, okay, this route didn't work, so I'm going to do something else. But it doesn't mean you're not going to get to your goal. It just means that you have to be flexible, be willing to be flexible on how you get there. So that's good right there.
Yes. Jeff Bezos said something. I do a lot of studying, and he was giving advice to entrepreneurs. And he said, like you said, you be, stern about your goals. Like, what you want to be achieved, but just be flexible in the details. Because sometimes you have to just change this up and change that up. Because you realize this might not have worked, but there's other ways to get there.
Exactly.
The details. But always pray, and just keep persistent, and you'll win. Like I said, it might take you a little longer, but you'll win.
Yeah, and you're not looking over your shoulder afterwards or worrying about
things I'm working for, because everything I established today, the police is not taking from me no more.
That's right. That's the truth. So, it comes with peace, doing it the right way too.
Oh, such peace. And like I said, I could share it with others and know that I'm not a hypocrite.
Yes.
And just give that advice from an honest place and help.
Because I could tell somebody all day long, you can do it, you can, but I haven't been in that situation. So sometimes, I can empathize with a person, but if you haven't been there, if you don't know what it's like to be in jail, be locked up, to be in the streets, like, I can't only say but so much, So coming from somebody that has been there, that understands, I think is more impactful,
And you gotta be willing, right? Like, to just do what it takes, man, no matter what. And be on time, be stern. When I first went to the Steve Harvey show, right, I remember the producer saying, we come out about 7:30 and getting the crowds together. I got there at 5:30, and the people at University, like, first come first serve, so I'm thinking it's gonna be long lines.
Right.
I know I ain't go all the way from all the way to California to not get in. So right. I got 5:30. It was the guards at Universal Studio was like, yeah, they don't come out to 7:30, right? And I was like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I had waited for that moment. Like, I remember sitting in the cell upstate, and Steve received the award, and he said, God, I could thank a lot of people, but I just want to thank God because God changed me. And I was sitting there watching TV, and I said, yes. And one day I'm going to meet him. I'm going to tell him how powerful that was for me. And when I gave him one of the God Changed Me shirts. Oh, it was just a powerful, amazing.
So you spoke that thing into existence. Like, I'm going to meet him.
The devil was trying because I didn't know. The producer was asking me a lot of questions to get on the show, and I told him my story, how I was in jail, and because they do the Ask Steve thing,
right?
But when they wound up coming out, they had who they had already. I didn't know that, so I'm like, I seen them asking the people. Now the devil was trying, like, oh, you ain't gonna be able to get to talk to Steve, and I was like, wow. They found who they had, and then they left. They just started letting people in. I said, it's going to happen for me. It's going to happen. I had faith. Then when I got in, I didn't realize. I didn't even read the email. They said wear dark colors. So I had on a white blazer. They was like, because it messed with the lighting. But God had me. Then when Steve came out, I stood up, and I did like that to him, and he stopped, and he saluted me back. And God just kept saying, you're going to get your moment. And they did the Ask Steve thing. And they got that out the way, and I was like, wow, I know God. I'm gonna get to tell Steve what he did for me. And then it went to like a commercial, and he was like, is there anybody that want to ask me anything? And wow. God, here you go.
Look at God.
Steve is me.
Yes.
And I told him about the BET Awards, and I was like, yo, I was a drug dealer for 25 years in 9 different states. And after doing 10 years, I gave my life to God. And I remember you said, God changed me. God changed me too. I got a shirt here, a copy of my book I love to give you. And he came up in the audience and hugged me real tight. And they're like, what you got going on today? And I said, I mentor. I run my business. I still work, college. And
Right.
he was like, I would love for you to mentor at my program. And I was like, wow. And I haven't heard from him, but it's cool because I wanted to accomplish.
Yes.
Meet him and hug him. And God showed me like when it's going to happen.
Yeah, God gave you that moment.
Gave me that moment. He was like, anybody want to ask me anything? Yes, sir.
I know that's right. So look, how do we follow you? How do we keep up with you? How do we know what you got going on next? Tell us. I have your website up.
Yes. My website is casperhill.org. This weekend I have some amazing life-changing products that I'm gonna add to the website. But Facebook, Casper Hill. You can find me on Instagram at author Casper Hill. But I'm out there, man. People message me. I give advice. Like I remember one of your friends, I believe, was it Tracy? Was her name?
Yes.
Me to speak to her brother. Get in touch with me. This is what I live to do. One of the things, God knows my heart. I don't want to ever be so successful that I'm not helping my peoples on them grassroots on the ground. So
yes. And speaking of that, your t-shirt line, your t-shirts and hats, these are some of the things that we can get off of the website, right?
Absolutely. I have numerous colors. It's understanding. See that first team success with them 4 pillars down there. That's because that's so important to me. Faith, putting God first, family, loving yourself and your family, finances. Sometimes even in your business relationships, you got to tell people, let's come together for the common goal. And then the friends, just having honest and true friends. If somebody's not sincere and true with you, you ain't got to, there's no need to waste each other's time. And when you take care of these 4 relationships, you will be a success. And that's
yes, indeed. So tell us, what are those pillars again?
Faith, beginning with God. Your relationship with God. If you nurture that relationship, because God is always telling you, if God is for you, who could be against you?
Yes.
He's letting you know we are a team. And if you nurture that relationship, you will be a success. Same thing with, yourself, loving yourself and your family. Taking care of that relationship. Sometimes we got to discipline our children. We tell them it's because I love you. We're a team. You win, I win. It's a team. Exactly. Same thing even in business. When you and your team come together for a common goal, everybody wins. And same thing with your friendships. Just having honest, true friends. Getting away from the toxicity. Getting away from toxic people and having them good, honest, true friendships. People get goofy, I get going.
I know that's right. Quick, huh?
Friends, because we work hard.
Yes, indeed. My mom says, I'm so proud of you, Casper. She loves you.
Thank you. Oh, that's like, oh God, I swear I gotta meet her soon. Like she's that mom, that aunt, that we love so much, man. I feel it.
Yes, she is very, very, very proud of you. And I'm just so glad that you said yes to the invitation tonight. I know you could be doing anything else, but I just thank you for coming on and being a guest tonight, telling your story, telling us that, seeing the change, even though you start one way, you don't have to end that way. And so to see you come so far, I just, keep up the good work. Like I said, whenever you get a chance to come to Virginia, I think your dad was like, he want to tag along too. So,
yes.
we got to make sure, because it's so much, everywhere. It's everywhere where, so many things are going on. But like I said, we need more and more men like you to be able to show you can do something different. So, just giving back and how you giving back in your life. Keep it going, keep up. Don't. I know you're not going to look back. I know you ain't going to look back. But just, I know when it get rough, just take a second and say, I got all these people counting on me.
God has been so good to me. You know, this my feet is planted firmly. Like I'm all right, no matter how rough it get. And I'm incredibly blessed. Like the only rough time it get is just the pie chart. Like I tell you, our lives is like a pie chart, and you got to know how to balance that. So when you look at your family, work, your personal, social media, it's the pie chart. Just take care of your pie chart. You know, make that time for prayer. I'm very serious about my prayer life, and God is blessing me in everything that I do. So
good.
It works out. So I'm good. I ain't going backwards.
I know you ain't going back.
I don't even have them thoughts no more. My thing is people like, okay, what are you doing? Like you living right, we cool. But if you ain't living right, I'm gone. I told you I get going. They get going.
That's right. That is so good. Thank you. Thank you again for being here. Joyce says, thank you both. Great show tonight. Powerful truth, wisdom, and testimony. Joyce, you're so welcome. Thank you for viewing live. So look, Casper, if you can hang out in the green room for me, I'll be with you in one moment, but I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out for everybody that's watching live. So thank you so much again. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. Now that I'm telling you, an awesome testimony like that, you just cannot ever say, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't. The information is not there. Like he said, everything, Google, YouTube University. I mean, you can find out almost anything you want to know on YouTube at this point. So knowledge is always there. How bad do you want it? You know, we all have something to overcome. It doesn't have to be incarceration. It doesn't have to be, being locked up. It doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be, but it's something that is pressing on you to say, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if my dreams will come true. I don't know. And it's always plaguing you, that fear, that doubt. You can go ahead. For every doubt you have, there's an overcoming story to say, no, you might feel that way, but remember when this happened, and remember when I showed you this testimony, and remember when I showed you that. So for every doubt seed that you plant, there is another seed that you can replace that with. And that's another, if it's not your own testimony, look at somebody else's life. You can do it. You're already approved. Everything is already written for you. You just have to go through the process and enjoy the journey. So I just want to thank you tonight for being here live. For everybody, thank you for the comments. To the replay viewers, I want to thank you for taking time to come back and watch the show tonight. And I just want everybody to have a great weekend. Enjoy your evening. And you know what I always say, I bet you all can say it with me now, right? So remember, in a world where you can be anything, always, always, always be yourself, because nobody can beat you at being you. Until next Friday, good night.